Hey, it's Frank here with Frank's DIY and Homeowner Help. That's a pretty long title. I might have to shorten that down. Anyway, this is what I woke up to this week. Dun dun dun. Garage seal failure. And it's not the seal that's failed. It's actually, as you can see here, it's actually the steel track that has come off. It's partially come off, right? So how it happened, I don't know. These doors are fairly new. They're probably less than a year old. So I'm gonna figure there's two ways of fixing that. And there's probably what's an easy way and probably what's the right way. So I'm gonna try and do the right way first and see if it works out. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove the rubber seal, the rubber gasket off of the bracket, off of the rail that it slides onto, because it's the rail that's come off. So then I'm gonna try and fasten the rail from below up with just some self-tapping screws. That sounds like an easy enough job. It should be an easy enough job, but these seals are notoriously tough to get out of the door. You have to slide them out. They're on kind of these tracks here, right? And you have to slide them off without damaging them, and they don't always want to come out. So I'm going to try and do that. If that fails, then I'll just drill the screws in from underneath through the rubber. That's less than ideal because then you're pinching the rubber or puncturing the rubber, and you don't want to do that. So we'll give it a shot and see how it works, see if it's option A or option B. And thanks for joining me. Maybe you can learn something. So will I. First thing I'm going to do is lift the door up to a position where where you can pull out the rubber seal without hitting the track here. And to do that, I think you're going to have to pull it up right up to the top there where it starts to bend. So I'm going to open the door the whole way and see if it leaves me a good position. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Let's see if this seal would be a deer and just slide out on its own with a little help. Yes. Oh yeah. That is fantastic. Okay, so I'm just going to slide it out. Just going to change your angle here and show you the seal coming out. So you can see that it's probably starts letting go right about here. So I'm going to remove the seal to about here. I'm not going to pull it all the way out because then it'll be difficult to put it back in, but so far it's coming out really easily. So let's see if that continues to be the case. Oh yeah, that is excellent. So let's see what we got up here. Oh yeah, okay, so let's see these screws here. These screws are broken. Is that sticking out? Looks like they're broken. Yeah, you can see right in there. But these screws have just sheared right off. So I'm going to remove these and then just replace them. I'm going to put, it still locks in really nicely, so I'm going to lock it in and then put a new self-tapping screw beside each one of these and see if that does it. Okay, so now I'm going to lower the door into a more friendly working position. I'm going to do that by disconnecting the door from the track and just sliding it down. Let's try right about there. You agree, Tower? You alright with that position there, Dougie? Okay, so this is the first screw that's broken, so let's see if it comes out nice. Yeah, there's not much to them. You can see what's left of the screw here. So we'll take them all out and then replace them. So here you can see it's a total of 5 screws that were sheared right off. Now once I do make this repair, I'm going to try and figure out what caused it, because I don't know what could have caused that to happen. Could water get in there, freeze, and blow it out? I doubt it. There's lots of room for water to expand in there. It could have just got caught on something. It could have just, I don't know, kid could have stepped on it maybe. But usually, you'd think the rubber would give away before the actual track, right? And the rubber's in great shape, so it wasn't that. The door's fairly new, so I may not be able to solve the mystery of what caused it, but I am going to fix it. So this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to use these 1-inch self-tapping screws or self-drilling screws. If you haven't used them before, they're great for working on metal. You can see the end of the screw actually has a little carve out that makes it its own little drilling chisel. And that's what opens up the perfect size hole for the drill. Now when you're drilling into metal, just be cautious. It doesn't give like wood does. I really twisted up my wrist once trying to cut a hole through aluminum. Really thin gauge aluminum, but the drill bits grab and it becomes completely unflexible and unforgiving. So just be aware when it's coming to the end of that, slow down your drill so that you don't really wrench your wrist around. Right, Tower? You agree with that? Good boy. Okay, so here goes the first one. Let's see how it goes. Usually takes a little bit for the bit to actually start cutting, but when it does, it'll go. Okay, that's really good. I'm happy with it. So, thing to note is that because I've got the door disconnected, there's no resistance, so I got to hold the resistance myself and hold it as I'm drilling. But that is really well in there, and it's nice and flush with the bottom of the bracket, so I'm really happy. Now we'll do the other 4. Okay, so it's installed in there, good and firm. Feels really good. It's exactly where it was before. All the screws are in there nice and flush. And now I'm just going to pull this seal back over, and hopefully it slides right back to the end without a problem. Yeah. Okay, it's kind of going. It's not going in really easily, and that's because over here. See, it's not straight at all. So I'm going to open the door back up so that it's back up there at the bend where it's nice and straight, and kind of feed it in with one hand and guide it in nice and straight with the other. You going to help me, Tower? I don't think so. Okay, so I still have the door disconnected from the garage door opener. But now we're here at this bend. The seal is no longer touching the rail here, so I'm just going to straighten it out. Maybe even loop it through here so that it kind of feeds it in straight for me. Something like that. You see that? Let's see if that helps. Awesome. Okay, that's pretty darn perfect. Let's have a look at it. Okay, so here's the start of it. It's pretty much flush there. Just a bit of a tear happening there on the seal, but still in pretty good shape all the way along. Looks pretty good. Now what installers do sometimes is at the very ends here, they'll hammer this down to pinch the seal so that it doesn't move side to side. I'm not going to do that because I'd prefer the ability to take it on and off easily. Now let's close the door and see how she works. Yes, I did just kick the screws. Didn't fall though. They're still okay. Down she comes. Let's look at the bottom seal and just make sure it's sitting okay. That is excellent. Let's zoom in a little and check it out here. That's not me breathing, that's the dog. Hey, Tara, what you doing? Yeah, that's a really good seal. So I'm happy with that. And with that, the job is done. So, cost of the job, 5 screws maybe. Fortunate that it didn't need a seal replacement or any of that kind of thing. And fortunate that the seal slid out so nicely. Older doors, that might not be the case. Older doors, if that rail is bent, which it often is, if you close your door on stuff, rocks and stuff like that, it'll damage that rail. You might need to replace the rail. Replacement seal is dirt cheap at the hardware store. The trouble is just getting it out. I recommend you just take your time, straighten out those tracks, and if the rubber isn't coming out really easily, just use your flathead screwdriver and straighten out where it's binding, and it should come out no problem. So easy repair, door should last a lot longer. Hopefully you learned something, I learned something today, and thanks for joining me.